Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew David. This is the High Performance Call with Blake Newbar's team. Today, I want to talk to you guys just a little bit about turning into the superhero you need to be. Really, just what I mean is, you got Superman. He's faster than a speeding bullet, or stronger than a locomotive. Jumps over tall buildings. We've all got those kinds of obstacles sometimes. You feel like you've got to jump over a building that you can't seem to get over. You feel like sometimes all sorts of guns are pointed at you and bullets are coming flying in every single direction. Sometimes you're stuck on the tracks and the train is barreling down and you're saying, good Lord, what am I going to do? I'm just going to get trampled. And you need to become unstoppable. You need to become stronger. You need a little bit of that strength that's going to get you through the day-to-day or sometimes the weeks. And especially over the last few months that we've had, it's been hard for a lot of people to wake up each and every day with a smile and to say, hey, this is a great day. This is awesome, right? We've got caught in this loop, the matrix where everything is the same. You wake up, there's no emergency to get up and get to work on time because hell, most of you guys have been working at home. Some of you guys that were at work, it's, driving this whole entire time. Sometimes it feels like a ghost town because of the lack of people on the road, right? The world has changed in fundamental ways in all across the board because of this craziness. And yet we're expected to go forward. The light companies don't say, hey, don't worry about it. We'll hit you up later, right? But this happens and has happened for a lot of you guys. And yesterday I had you kind of raise your hands and say, I'm here, I'm present, let's talk. It might have been the day before, but we were, just sharing what everybody's been through. And it's important that you recognize that you're still here despite everything you've been through. I've shared at different times pieces of my story and we've all gone through different things. I grew up in Oakland, California. I grew up in a neighborhood that was kind of rough. We moved away because it was so crazy. I went from Oakland, California, which is this huge mixing pot, and everybody was there and all sorts of different backgrounds and ethnicities and cultures and countries and all sorts of different people. And I moved to Prescott, Arizona, which I got to visit, a week ago, and it was absolutely fantastic, but it's kind of homogenous. Prescott's a little bit different. It is, it was not the world that I grew up in. And so there was a shift. And, then I was blessed. I got to had an amazing opportunity to spend 2 years in Brazil. And I got to see life on a whole other level, something that I never would have experienced otherwise. I was there as a missionary, but I got to experience and see things and work with people that, man, for those of most of us, so many of us are in places and sometimes we complain about things and you just got to shake your head. And I know some of you guys are from Central and South America, and some of you guys are from Africa or Asia or other places where you grew up and you see things and then you hear other people complain that are in, these first world countries, and you go, what are you complaining about? The other day I was complaining because my iPhone wasn't holding a charge. And so I had to go buy a new iPhone, right? That's my problem for the day. I mean, come on. Look at where we're at and what you've already overcome. So we go through life, we get to a certain point and you're rolling along and you're either following, the pathway that you think you should be going down, or that mom and dad told you about, or that school told you about. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing and things just aren't working out the way that they should. And you're wondering why not. And then you take this person's advice and then you take that person's advice and things just, you're going, why aren't I getting to where I should be? And then mid-30s, choices made, some poor choices, some things happened. I went through a divorce and it was a rough time. It was a low time for me. I went, and I've told parts of this before, guys, and I'm not by any means saying I've got it worse than any of you. I'm just sharing some of what I've gone through. August 25th, 2013, August 25th is my birthday. If you guys want to mark that in your calendar for later on in the year. But 2013, I woke up on my birthday in the backseat of my car, sleeping in a park, and not knowing what I was going to do or where I was going to go or what the heck was going on. And was forced to walk away from a business that I had helped build up into a good 7-figure business with employees and everything else, and start over in my mid-30s going, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I mean, whole world had shifted for me. And I spent the following weeks sleeping on different friends' couches, living room floors, really living on the charity and love and kindness of some others in my life. And I'm incredibly grateful for them. And I, started working and then got a second job and then a third job. And at one point, my car got repossessed and then I got it back and then I got it repossessed again. And then I'm riding a bike to all of these different jobs and I'm borrowing a car to get to where I can deliver flowers on the weekend. And I'm personal training people and I'm riding a bike to the gym and then I train some people. And then I ride a bike to this job and then I ride a bike home at 11:30 at night in Florida, rain or shine, that's what was going on. And that was the moment when I said, there's got to be something else. I've got to find a way. And that's where online marketing came in. And at first, the only reason I did it is so that I could earn some money to pay some bills and get myself, to take care of the kids and take care of myself and get out of that house where I was just renting a room. And I'm incredibly grateful for my friends that allowed me to do it. But I was living well below, living well below not just my, below what many would consider a normal life. I was living so far below my potential because I didn't believe that the potential was there. Depression, therapy, all sorts of different stuff going on. And you look at where you are now, guys, and there are certain elements that I feel like everybody has a trigger, something that happens, and for some people where it's time to finally change for yourself the pathway that you're on. There's some kind of trigger that brought you to the point of it's going to change. Now, for some people, it's the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. It's just over and over and over things piling up until you get to the point where you just go, that's it. I've had enough. That last conversation with my boss, that last bill that came in that I looked at and said, I'm not going to be able to pay that electric bill for 2 weeks. Whatever it was, something happened that just finally pushed you over the edge. And if you're at that point, or if you got it to that point recently, then good for you. Hopefully you grab a hold of it and you remember it and you start moving forward. Some of you, it was something big that happened, right? I was wallowing in pity and playing the victim and bitching and moaning about life for months and months. And without remembering what I had seen in Brazil, obviously, because I saw it much worse. And there I was, and, days that you don't want to get up and go to work. And then, so you're laying there, you're sleeping throughout the day, and then you don't go to sleep at night. And, I remember, friends calling and saying, hey, why don't you come out and do something? And I'm laying on the couch with a Taco Bell burrito sitting right here that I'm slowly munching on as I'm watching TV and texting them saying, no, I'm busy. I've got plans, and then staying up till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock at night, just laying in bed going, what am I doing? But it was a call that I got from one of my sons where he said, Dad, when are you going to pay the orthodontist? Because some of you guys can probably relate. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, this bill this month, that bill that month, playing it like that. And he said, Dad, when are you going to pay the orthodontist? He said, you're behind. He won't see me until you do. And my brace is broke and it's cutting the inside of my mouth and it hurts and I need to go see him. And that was my trigger. That was that moment where I'm laying there bitching and moaning about my life. And my son had that. And it was absolutely a struggle. Michael, there is a little bit of coughing up, but I've dealt with it in a lot of ways. And I tell the story the way I do because I've been able to work through a lot of those obstacles, the frustrations that I had, the depression that was there, the blame that I would put on other people as opposed to taking it on myself and realizing that I was the one that had the power to make any changes that needed to be made. Me. It wasn't my ex. It wasn't her dad that was my business partner. It wasn't this job or that job. It wasn't anyone else that I could rely on. Ultimately, I was the only one that could make that change. Now, I needed some help, right? I did need that therapist. I did need some friends to lift me up. That was absolutely part of that process, but nothing started to change until I did. And that's what a lot of you guys have to understand. So for me, that was that trigger. Now, the good part about that story is I was able to find the funds that day, get my son in that day, called the orthodontist. I gave them some, said, hey, the rest is going to be there within, 8 to 12 hours. They made the appointment happen. He was okay. But that was that moment where I said, this never happening again. Andrew, get your shit together, get up and make a move. And thankfully I did. Now it wasn't always easy after that, but there was something that made that shift for me. Now, if you're looking for a way to become motivated, to become truly unstoppable, if you want to turn into a superhero in your own life first, ladies and gentlemen, your own life first, you got to become the superhero. You have to become the main character in your own story, because too many of you guys are still playing a supporting role. You've got to become the main character. And so as you do that, one of those things, now it can be a full-on mortality motivation, as Brendon Burchard talks about. It could be the realization that life is finite, that you're not going to live forever, that reaching the next level doesn't necessarily extend your lifespan, that cryogenics to the point of being able to freeze your head and bring you back, in 100 years isn't reality yet. When you realize that life is short like that, then that should give you a little more motivation. When you realize that those relationships with the kids, with your loved ones, with the friends, when that's not going to last forever, that some of those relationships may end, it should give you a little bit of drive. When you realize you can live your absolute best life, but that life has a time span that you need to fill up as best you can, hopefully that gives you a little bit of drive. And if you're struggling for it, think about, this last year, some of you guys, maybe it was before that. For me, one of those moments was, and I've shared this before, but when my dad passed when I was 21, at that moment of, oh my gosh, what is happening? Like, there's no way he should be gone at 48. Some of you have experienced that with other loved ones. All of us in this last year should recognize how precious life is, right? And whether you want to talk about the actual numbers and this and that and everything else is beside the point, because the media had a great spotlight on problems and death in general, wherever that source came from. We got to look at that really up close and personal over the last 12 months. And if that didn't help you realize how precious life is, then the rest of this is going to be a struggle for you. So hopefully you did. Right now, with all of that, with all of it, it's hard to focus on the positive. You don't want just death to be the motivator, right? Michael's saying death is your best friend and advisor. It can be. What you need to do is allow it to be that motivator as well, to lift you up and push you, and not the fear of, but the recognition that life is precious and I want to make the most out of it. Does that make sense? You can't forget the beauty of tomorrow. You can't forget how precious the next day is. It's one of the most amazing things you've got. You might lay in bed occasionally struggling with what happened during the day, but the great thing is you can close your eyes and you can wake up and the next day it all starts over. And you've got the opportunity to make different choices. You do. On your shoulders, have that opportunity and that responsibility, and you should. So, and I've talked a little bit about Brendon Burchard this week, but he has in his writings, he talks about one of his first books is Life's Golden Ticket. He talks about his story. He says that there were 3 questions that kind of stood out to him, and it was, did I live, did I love, did I matter? And he said that he always thinks about that towards the end of his life. He's going to ask himself, or that's going to be his response, or how he judges his whole life. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? I heard that years ago, and I started thinking about questions that I would ask myself, and I'm not doing it every single night. And this could be part of your life review, but think about some questions for yourself that you can ask yourself every night. Did I live? Am I living? Am I striving? Am I overcoming? Am I doing what I can to build strength? Am I sharing and loving? Am I compassionate? Right? Am I on track? How is my energy today? Come up with a handful of questions for yourself to ask continuously to ground yourself. You've got those elements for the life review. come up with 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, something that you can ask yourself continuously to kind of reset yourself, to put yourself back on track. And when you recognize that something's a little bit off, fix it. Fix it. There's an awesome Saturday Night Live skit. If you've never seen it, go watch the Saturday Night Live skit. Just fix it. It's hilarious. There's a motivational speaker on. He says, let's talk about your problems. Oh, that's your problem. Well, fix it. Just fix it. A lot of times, guys, that's all you need to do is you just need to act. Get rid of the victim, get rid of the fussing, and just do something. Go take some action. So you've got your motivation. You've got thinking about the beauty of today, the beauty of tomorrow. My vision is my driver. There you go. Always looking at where I am, not in alignment. Find that vision and clear it out. Now you have the struggle that becomes part of life. Life is a struggle, and there's different ways to look at it. You can honor it, you can bemoan it. You can honor it, or you can bitch and complain about what the struggle is. The struggle should be something that forges you into who you can become. Or you can let it break you. And I love seeing every one of your faces. It's much better than me trying to speak to a blank screen, even though I tend to do that sometimes too. But the simple fact that you're here means that you've overcome some struggles. And you're willing to work on whatever struggle is here right now. And you're going to keep yourself moving forward. So keep doing that. Keep building, keep growing, honor that struggle. Marianne saying 2016, my life took a bad step. That is a rough one with an X. Thank God that I did not go down that rabbit hole. That's good. Michael saying spiritually speaking, death exists for us to learn how to best utilize the gift of consciousness for the benefit of the world. All animals do not have programmed end time. Yeah, that's true. Your purpose here, and this goes to kind of what I was talking about the other day, daily figure out, am I living my best life? Because if I'm not, who is going to struggle because of it? Who is counting on me to be my best version of myself? Right? Who is counting on me to raise my energy and to get something done? And sometimes we get discouraged and sometimes we get frustrated, and true discouragement really just means that we've given up on learning. We've given up on trying. You've given up on adapting and growing, right? The trials are going to be there. None of us are going to get to a point, and there is no dollar amount that gets you there where all of a sudden the trials go away. They just shift. And the people that reach a financial success or people that reach a relationship success are simply willing to strengthen themselves to overcome the next struggle and look at life a little bit differently and smile and celebrate each and every day because they were blessed enough to have another day. And if you're willing to look at life that way, you will become the superhero you need to be. You will become unstoppable. You will have the strength to overcome all of these. Sometimes you need to duck, you need to adapt. There's all sorts of different superpowers that you can get. And I've talked about this before, but one of those superpowers, ladies and gentlemen, is simply the ability to deal with the day-to-day monotony on a daily basis and not give up. To do it, and you don't always have to do it with a smile on your face, because there's plenty of stuff I got to do on a daily basis. It doesn't make me smile, but I do it. Dealing with that stuff and consistently working and becoming the best version of yourself is what's going to get you to the next level. Whatever your next level is. Now, if that's health, if it is finances, if it is this business, if it is any of these things, the one that's in control of all of these actions, all of these decisions, and everything that's going to happen is you. I'm going to be here to support you. All of these people on here are probably in that same world with you. We're all here to support whatever journey you're on. And if you need some of that, reach out. Drop a comment in the Facebook, send me an email. Andrew, I need a chat. I'm willing to do that. You guys are capable of doing much more than you think. Much more than you think you are. Right? The potential within this room is ridiculous if you're willing to push yourselves. So go out and become unstoppable. Become the amazing individuals you were meant to be. Rise up from all of the flames, from all of the ashes. Fly like the phoenixes that you are. Have an amazing weekend, you guys. Go out and be awesome. Hope to hear from some of you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.